Uh, 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 uh. My name is Ben Marcus. Somehow I found myself as the main editor of a reality TV show called
Rosie's Roses.
You made me look like a moron, for heaven's sakes.
I used to be a comic. It's where my heart is.
If comedy's your thing, dude, why aren't you out there running with it?
There's no way, man. I got a family.
Can you help out around the house? Jack needs help with his math homework.
I'll fix the toilet. You watching a video. That's not math.
This guy is funny. He has to be. He's a millionaire.
Millionaire?
He's a peasant.
What? And this is my very first video. I got 2 atheist friends. Every time I'm around them, I sneeze just to see what they're gonna say.
That video is hilarious. Never knew you were that funny.
I just got my first endorsement deal.
The nominees this year are...
I just wish she was more involved. I feel like I'm doing this all on my own.
Have you ever seen the movie War Room?
I don't really like Christian films.
Hey, where you been?
Hannah's play.
I am so sorry. I got all caught up at work. I was busy.
It's cool. Okay.
This is my first time. In like 20 years, I finally get to do something I love.
For once in your life, have some balance.
I don't even know where I got off track.
What if it's a test? What if you dove deeper into the Bible than you ever had before?
I can't afford to be sitting around reading the Bible.
You can't afford not to read the Bible.
It's got awkward.
A little bit, yeah.
I felt it. Everything's not perfect. There's no way I can ask you to be a better daughter if I'm not willing to be a better father. And I am.
God can do incredible things.
Some of these things I just can't fix without some sort of direction. And I'm finding it right here in the Bible. I'm Sophie Dad.
I thought it was the police. It's the brolies. We gonna be all right.
You already know who it is. Chino, Cole, what up? I'm back. Hey, I'm back in my bag. Yeah, get on my pad. Yeah, hate I subtract. Yeah, you did the math. Hey, I do not pass. Yeah, make him upset. Yeah, he got my bag. Yeah, so I'm in my bag. Yeah, I'm in my. I was gone for a second, but I'm back now. Laid back, but I never back down. Now it's just curtains, ruin my worship. For certain, knew it was working for my good, so I just count down. Hey, trying to tell these boys that we do this. I get depressed, but I never get foolish. It's like every single time they be clueless. Hey, loyal friends over opportunists. I've been leaving all these girls on rojo. Look, I've been going for my go-hos. God brought me out, yeah, I'm in a mean state. I'm Aaron Rodgers with the bag, cause that Green Bay. Yeah, I don't argue with circus. Ooh. Yeah, I just spit verses, yeah. Thought I was worthless, ayy, yeah. But I've been purchased, back in my bag, yeah. Get on my path, yeah. Hate I subtract, yeah. You did the math, ay. I do not pass, yeah. Make him upset, yeah. He got my bag, yeah. So I'm in my bag, ay. Yeah. I'm back in my bag, ay. Yeah. I'm back in my bag, ay. I'm back in my bag, ay. Yeah. I'm back in my bag, ay. I do not pass, yeah, make him upset, yeah, he got my bag, yeah, so I'm in my bag, yeah, look, I'm in my, I know they counting me out, a lot of people getting mad, getting slick with the mouth, a lot of people didn't think, gotta bring the kid out, I'm all dead like I'm cleaning the cat, disgrace is sufficient, I'm eating good with all my brothers, I know that they jealous, I see them plotting in they huddle, my family was praying and praying, I swear to my mother, was down in the trenches, now a blessing after the other, like, I'm too bad, MJ, man, I'm too bad. Moving through the city, I'm new jack. Yeah, I see I'm looking like who that? Like who that? The one that was chosen, I'm steady coasting. Look at my wrist motion, back on top. Want them to notice, yeah. I'm back in my bag, yeah. Get on my path, yeah. Hate I subtract, upset. Yeah, he got my bag. Yeah, so I'm in my bag. Yeah, I'm back 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 in my bag. Yeah, I do not pass. Yeah, make him upset. Yeah, he got my bag. So I'm in my bag. Yeah, I'm in my.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you in the field with the
we're
Trackstarz. Ryan
Okay.
Righteous, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, for all things Trackstarz, make sure you go to trackstarswithaz.com. Follow us on Instagram at Trackstarz, Twitter at Trackstarz, like the Facebook page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Okay, so we like if you've been following us, you know we have our weekly calls on Thursdays with the team, and we were talking about relationships again, and it came to the point where we were like, okay, so I think the question came up like, what do you do, or when's the first time you would go over to somebody's house, right? So we're gonna do the Netflix and chill conversation. A lot of people are dealing with this with quarantine time, like what do you do, and especially after quarantine is over and you're dating. Should you be going over to somebody's house when you're dating, or should that be off limits? What should be your boundaries when you're dating? So we're all married, except Ashley. So we don't think about this every day. So Ashley, what do you think?
I honestly don't think you should. I don't think that you should be doing that. I think, we talked about, well, if you're really walking with God and you're, have the Holy Spirit, you have the self-control, you're good. But I think it's, the whole concept of not giving the devil a foothold. It's like, you don't give an open crack for anything to potentially be an issue, whether you're, you feel like you have the self-control from God that you need. Like it's still, I just think it's not wise. I think also too, obviously you should be sharing as you're courting with your close friends. And it's like, what if you have a friend that's maybe weak in an area and you're like, oh yeah, we came over to his house, he cooked me dinner, we watched a movie. Like they may not be strong in that area and they may think that that's okay. They hear you doing it and think, oh, well, I can do that. And it's not like that we're in control of other people's actions, or we should, worry about that. But I think it's like, it's stumbling a brother. Like, why do I need to be doing that? And why do I need to be alone with you? Like why? I mean, I think we should be dating in groups. I think you can do things outside alone. You can do things, but it's like, why put yourself alone in a situation where it's just you two? I don't agree. I don't think you should. It's not
Ryan,
good.
what do you think? Did you do this before you got married?
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we hung out and watched movies. That was our date nights, and it was either my house or her house, So, yeah, I think it's the difference between. So, I want to make sure I understand. I wasn't for group dating, right? My very first date out was a group date. It was a birthday party, and we were all friends, and we were all church members, and we hung out and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to getting to know my wife and her mannerisms and understanding who she was as a person, I needed to do that without influence of anybody else being there. So that was big for me. But I'm a different person, right? I mean, I do.
You're Inspector Dater.
Yeah,
of course, Inspector Dater would say that. Yeah, come to the house.
Now you have to use that in past tense because I'm not an Inspector Dater anymore.
Yeah, I know. Yes,
I was an Inspector Dater.
But the receipts are there, right?
Yeah, I believe. So let me explain that whole Inspector Dater thing for people that don't know. I used to believe that it was okay to get to know people, right, and not have to put labels on everything, right? So I would have somebody that I would give a call to and be like, yo, you want to hang out and go to a movie? Yeah, cool. All right, cool. And so we go out and hang out in a movie.
What happened the next day?
Say what?
Well, what happened? That would be Friday night, but what happened Saturday night?
I'd just be chilling.
No.
But I could be chilling with somebody else.
Okay, there you go. Tell the truth. Shame the devil.
But it was, you want to grab some fries, you want to grab a something from Dairy Queen or something. I felt like it was okay for me to get to know people, right? For me to be able to say, okay, well, this is something about this person that I didn't like, or this is something about this person I do like. But I also knew too that I didn't want to get into anything too soon, because I knew that when God was ready for me, he was going to show me all the things about my wife that I needed to know. I spent a lot of time fasting and a lot of time in prayer trying to make sure that I got the right wife. And so, and when she came along, that I heard God's voice very clearly, and I did. I moved. Me and my wife, we met on a Sunday. 7 days later, we were in our relationship. A couple of weeks later, my dad was like, well, you know, that's the one you're going to marry. 2 to 3 months later, I was ring shopping. 2 months after the ring, I bought the ring, I proposed, and then 6 months later, we got married. So everything happened in 1 year. You know, I had never been in a serious adult relationship. And I was 29 years old, and I was ready to find my wife. And I knew when God sent her, the message was going to be clear. So, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, bro.
No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I got to know my wife at her house. She got to know me in my house. I got to see her mannerisms, my mannerisms, the things that I'm clean, you know, I'm clean or dirty, and she's clean or dirty. We just needed to know those different things, right? But we did not live together. We did not sleep together before we got married. We just, that was our thing. We weren't doing all that.
What about you, Jeremiah? What did you guys do?
I did go over her house, one of Maya's house. But I'll say this: I think you do need to have boundaries if you go into somebody's house. You need to know, like, I can't stay late. If we shut this down at 9 or shut it down at 10. You know what I'm saying? But I think you have to be respectful to other people's what they want to do in their relationship. So, like, just because somebody may feel like, well, such and such is doing it, I can, but you know, deep down, you can't do that. Like you can't. If I know Ryan is good being at Toya's house at the time, and I knew that I can't do that with my wife, then I'm like, well, I can't do that. I'm fine with that. And what God is giving grace to Ryan and Toya, it may not be giving grace for me and Maya. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I feel that way. Like, I totally feel that way. Like, when it comes to dating, it's like when you're dating somebody, and what certain couples are doing, if they're not sinning, if they're sinning, that's something totally different. But if they are at somebody's house and they're at their house together, and they could handle it, if I know I can't handle it, then I'm like, well, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was what for me was like having boundaries in those areas, because if you don't have boundaries, you can find yourself in some trouble.
What do you think about that, Ashley? Do you think the experience that we had was wrong? No, I'm talking about Ashley. Like, does Ashley think that we were wrong going over each other? Because all three of us did. So we wouldn't have qualified for Ashley.
Not for Ashley.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was wrong, but if it was like I was a guy and, you know, wise counsel, I would definitely be like, hey, let's check in on this. You know, what's happening, or how are you feeling? Like, I'd probably check in on you. I probably wouldn't agree personally, but I think like Jeremiah said, like, you know, what God graces you for might be different for me. Like, I know my past and where God's delivered me from. So I truly believe now I'm in a place where I know without a shadow of a doubt nothing would happen if he came over. But by the same token, you know, I also know that I don't want to put myself in that position knowing my past, you know. But I think it's important too that you've got to be on the same page as a person. You know, I think, you know, I mean, when I've dated before, it was like I kind of had some boundaries, and the person kind of just went along with what I wanted to do because they wanted to date me. Not pridefully or toot my own horn, but they wanted to date me. And it was like, okay, well, I'll do what you say kind of thing. Oh, you don't want to have sex, or you don't want to do this. And some of them were, you know, Christians, where they were like, okay, we don't have to do that. Or I was like, well, what if I don't want to kiss till we get married? You know, like some of them were like, oh, well, yeah, we could potentially do that. But they didn't. Yeah, but they didn't really agree with it. So I think that's one of the things too, is you guys both have to be on the same page. But yeah, I think it's, you know, everyone's different. I don't think we should judge different people. Some people think kissing is fine, you know, and making out and doing all these things. But then you have to know, if you start making out, okay, well, how do you feel? Do you feel like you want to go to the next level? So maybe for you, it's not a good idea watching a movie and thinking mentally. If you're sitting there watching a movie on a couch and you're thinking of all the things you could do with them on that couch, you know, that's not good either. So you got to guard your mind too. So yeah, I would think, I would advise you as a friend, if I was one of your guy friends, to just keep checking in with you on that. Like, how's that going? You know? So
here's my experience. And I used to be very like, staunch on the rules. When I was in college, I had a poster in my dorm room that had rules of no this, no that, no this, no that, no this.
Yes, Lord.
And so I understand that, you know, like I understand the desire to have like very strict boundaries so you avoid temptation. On the other side, though, I am worried that some of those may be put in place because there's no actual change happening in your heart. A lot of those boundaries are put there because you have not grown at all in your like the Bible talks about your faith being like a bodybuilder, like you're training your muscles up, right? And what I'm worried about is if you can't even be in a room with a person without feeling like you're gonna have sex with them, then maybe there hasn't been any development. You see what I'm saying? And some of those rules may be a mask to hide the fact that there has been no change internally. So does it really count if the only way you avoid temptation is to avoid people?
No, I think it does. I think you know, put it to whatever addiction you struggle with. Let's just use alcohol. It's like in my heart, I may say, I really, really don't want to do this, and I'm working towards it. I might have it in my family. I've seen people affected by it, and it's devastating. And so my heart, based on, you know, what I've dealt with, I don't want to do it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit at the bar every single night. You know, it doesn't mean my heart is not in the right place. It's just I'm not going to put myself in a situation where, you know, I may still, you know, crave something or whatever it is, and I really don't want to do it. But that doesn't mean you just stick yourself in there. It's like, you know, strip clubs or whatever it is. It's like, I really know I don't want to do this or look at this anymore, but I'm not going to go sit there and fling ones around. You know, I mean, I think heart can be, Yeah, the
only difference is, if your analogy was right, but you avoiding the strip club, but you still want to marry the stripper. You see what I'm saying? Like, the relationship is designed for oneness and closeness eventually at the end of the marriage. And if there hasn't been enough change to where you could be in a situation with that person and not feel like you're going to have sex with them constantly, then maybe there needs to be more change before the relationship, instead of trying to put up artificial blocks during it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, and it's not to say the boundaries aren't good, because you may end up at the same place. We're not coming over here, you're not going over there. But I would say, in the meantime, really make sure that even if you were in the same room, even if whatever came up, that there's been some change happening in your heart to where you're not just gonna take your clothes off. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's going to happen, if in certain situations, what I'm afraid of is that when you inevitably find yourself in that situation, if you're getting married and you get engaged, you're going to be in a room with that person alone at some point. This is impossible. Right? And if you're so afraid that if you do end up in that room with that person, that it's going to go down, it will go down. Because as soon as you are in the room, you feel like you've sinned already. You've added so many extra sins to your life that being in the room becomes a sin. So I grew up in the what's that guy's name who just recanted that whole book? The Kiss Dating Goodbye. I can't remember his name now. But he went against all that too. Joshua Harris, right? He said, I don't believe in that anymore. But there were some good things about the dotted lines, right? When you're driving and there's, you know, you don't want to just drive off the edge of the road. There's dotted lines to kind of warn you that you're about to get to the edge of the road, right? So you do want to have something a little bit before sin that you need to kind of be like, if it's all the way to not even being in close contact with a person at all, that line may be way too far away from a relationship for you to be in one right now. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. No, I agree. You definitely have to have what they would call a heart check, you know, and you can't just Band-Aid what you're really dealing with by boundaries. You definitely need to be real with yourself and really, you know, seek real areas. But I think
there's nothing. I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. You really have to ask yourself, okay, am I doing this because I really can't, abstain, if you will, or control myself, or am I just doing this because, you just got to know where you are. But yeah, I could honestly say, I mean, back in the day, I couldn't be in a room because I would want to do that. So I would be like, I can't go in there with you. We're going to be in trouble, But now, I mean, we probably could, but I would just choose not to. One thing too, as a single girl, you got to be careful, ladies too, is inviting that man into your space too. I think sometimes, I mean, these are for us ladies, and for a lot of us, like, these are our sanctuaries. This is where we spend time with God. I mean, not that you wouldn't want him in there, but to me, it's like, this is my personal space too. Like, you gotta be prayerful of that. I don't know. I just feel like, to me, maybe eventually, but I'm just mindful of my home. Like, it's a place where, my friends come and maybe I host the girls and stuff, but bringing a man here alone, like, I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary. We can get, total quality time sitting in front of a coffee shop or over a yogurt out in the park with just us two alone. Like, I can see, but I also get where you want to see if they're cleanly or whatever. But I think too, it's kind of like the old adage where people say, well, I got to sleep with them to know, like, is the sex going to be good? I got to test the car. It's like, when you are walking with God and you guys are prayerful and you have peace, like, he will bless a lot of areas. Yes, I'm not married yet, but I have a ton of married friends and I've been getting wise counsel from them. Like, hey, share with me these things, but you guys work those things out. Like, if you're going to get divorced over leaving the cap off the toothpaste or the seat up, which please leave the seat down. But like, really though, like, are we really like worried about, and you're messy, like, you guys can work on that stuff. I think that stuff is so trivial. Like, you guys want to get to the heart of issues,
Right.
I don't need to be in your space to be like, oh, if you're dirty, I'm not going to marry you. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, yeah.
The only caution I have, like, I know what you're saying. I know it's coming from a good place. The only caution I have is that this journey of your development doesn't end at marriage. All that stuff you bring into your marriage is going to affect your actual marriage. And if you haven't dealt with the intimacy and being able to be able to handle yourself in certain situations, and if you haven't dealt with that internally, that's going to affect your actual marriage too. So so to me, it may be a sign that you're not ready for that, because marriage is such a intimate thing. And there's a lot of things that tempt you even after marriage, and not just sexually, but period. And if you've built up no tolerance for temptation, if you built up no ability to be strong in these situations, that's gonna affect your spouse.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
That's a good point. So, like, what's a good example then of that, of building your tolerance? I mean, aside from being in someone's house, like, what's something that you should be doing then to prepare for that?
The reason this came on I came from a church where they were very you don't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, right? As I was going through it, I realized that, isn't it better if I've developed a relationship with God to the point where internally I realize that I shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, versus being afraid that you're going to be upset with me if I do this and that? And I'm just worried that a lot of Christians' motivation for being good is because they're afraid of upsetting their pastor or their community, or they'll be embarrassed if they do this and that. Versus, I don't want to do this because, God, I don't want to upset you.
That's real.
And if you have if this is not in an internal working of God inside of your heart that says, no, I'm not doing this because I promised the pastor I wouldn't do it. I'm not doing this because the Holy Spirit is telling me, okay, I need to leave, or that needs to be in the moment. Like, you need to be able to feel those things, or God's telling you to do something and react in the moment. You see what I'm saying? Like, and if you have no if you have no ear for that, I'm just worried that if your church falls apart, or like, and I'm talking about things that have happened. My church has fallen apart. So now a lot of the people who grew up in that do it because the pastor said so, or do it because Christians are going to be mad at you. If you grow up in that environment and then the church goes away, then you're like, well, I'm wilding out now.
Yeah.
Who am I upsetting if it's not in here? There should be an internal change, not just external boundaries that I'm setting up to protect myself. It should be like, no, I don't want to. I don't actually even want to anymore.
That's real, Sean.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a real statement.
So let me ask you this question, Ashley. What happens if you meet a guy and you like him, but he says, but I want to come over to your house, or I want you to come over to mine, right? And maybe it's just because he wants to check out, like, for a lot of women, Christian or non, They want to see if you got any more photos on the wall. You know what I mean? Like, am I the person?
What?
More photos. If you're in another relationship, basically.
Photos of what?
Another girl, another woman.
You want to make sure you have more. You know, she's the only one, basically.
Yeah, basically making sure you're the only one. So a lot of women are like that. So I was just wondering if he says like, I want to check out your space. I want to see where you live, and I want you to come over to my house. And that's the way he, you know, that's his love language is quality time. Let's just say he wants to spend time at the house like that. Are you okay with him saying, you know, I want you to come over, or is that a relationship deal breaker for you? Are you open to sitting down, talking it through, and figuring out which point is, you know, why he believes his points or why you believe your points?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a deal breaker. I think that's good. That's a great question. I don't think it's a deal breaker if he asked me to come over. Like, we would just talk about, well, like, what do we want to do? But this picture on the wall thing, I kind of want to go back to that. Do guys like print out pictures and like put them up in their house? Like,
no, he's talking about
he's saying that you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want. People may be afraid that they may be hiding something at their house, like a wife. So if you never go over to their house, you may not be getting the whole picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's definitely not a deal breaker. I'm not like this rigid person. I just want to, like you said, Sean, I mean, you hit it on the head. Like, I want to honor God. And I know that I've grown in a lot. God's healed me, and I want to honor him, and I want to be a lady. Like, I don't want to just be Netflix and chilling, just laid out on the couch. Like, I'm a woman of God.
I definitely wouldn't
like,
say lay out on the couch.
Not that doesn't. No, but I'm just saying, I mean, it doesn't.
Sit up.
It doesn't like make you not a woman of God. Yeah, sit up. I'm gonna sit up nicely on the couch.
But also,
no, but I mean, it's like, you know, I think even that, but letting people into that space, like being in someone's house alone, you know, having dinner, you know, watching a movie. Like, ladies, that should be like, I think, down the road a bit. Like, they should earn that. And if you are gonna do that, like, I would have to cross that bridge, and we would have the conversation. Yeah, you earn that time, and vice versa. I mean, he's a man of God too, but it's like that stuff. I don't know. I just think that should come later. That's pretty intimate, to be in someone's space and alone and cooking together and doing things like that's marriage type stuff. I think, you know, I mean, that's why, I mean, we talked about not living together, but you start doing all that stuff and you're hanging out all the time. You could even get into a feeling where you're kind of playing house, even if you're not spending the night. I mean, I don't know. To me, I think you can know a little bit, but once I get married, like, we're going to build a house together. That's the joy of it. It's like, well, you know, if you're always just, I don't know. I have some views.
I think one thing is you don't want to idolize the boundaries either. You get what I mean? Like, and when I mean idolize it is like, you know, I don't do this, you know what I'm saying? I know you do that, but I don't do this. You know what I mean? I think at the same time, you want to have wisdom. That's it. At the end of the day, you want to have wisdom. If you know yourself, don't put yourself in those predicaments. That's what I would say to anybody that's single, dating, and everything like that. If you know deep down yourself that I can't go to a homegirl's house, don't go to her house. But if you know we ain't doing nothing, we cool. Like, I leave at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. The sun's still up. We good. Like, if you know that, then do what you like. If you got freedom to do that, and especially somebody said it in the comment, like, do you have a mentor? Do you have a relationship person that's like a married couple that's like mentoring y'all as y'all go along? That's good too. I mean, me and Maya had that too. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like that's one of those things where you have to be honest too. Like, hey, we're here, and we're not at a good place right now. You know what I'm saying? To have a marriage, somebody who's can pour into you as you walk this thing, as courting becomes, you know, going past dating, going to courting, going to engagement, and then going to a marriage. So I'll say that to say, all I have to say is just use wisdom. You know what I'm saying? But for you, Ashley, at sometimes, or people that have that, is like, don't brag about your standards towards other people, because those are not their standards. Even if they're Christian, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Ryan was missionary dating and I don't missionary date, I'm not gonna look at him like, yo, he's a scumbag.
Dang, why you gotta put me out there like
I'm just saying, like, if you're missionary dating people and I'm like, that's not me, I can't look at you because your track record says as a man of God that it's something totally different.
Yeah,
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
but I would
saying?
advise him not to. I would talk to him and say, bro, like, because you're not on the same page. If you're missionary dating this person, it's not even. I mean, to me, I wouldn't advise you to do that.
I think that's a whole nother topic. But I would
That's
say
a whole nother topic.
Jeremiah is because that's not what Ryan said. Inspector dating and missionary dating is not the same. But what Jeremiah said is absolutely correct. The only thing I'm adding to that is just because you come to the stance of, oh, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't be able to handle it, so I'm not going to go in that situation. That's a great thing to realize and come to. The only thing I'm saying is don't stop there. That you identified a problem. That's not okay. That's not okay that if you were in the room that you would be taking off your clothes. Fix that. Avoid the situation and fix it to where that shouldn't be. You should be noticing growth is what I'm saying. The next time you're in that room, it should be less likely for you to take off your clothes, and then less likely, and then even more less. You shouldn't be so afraid of every situation permanently. You should be getting better is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think the biggest thing for me, and I guess where my heart really stands, is I want to honor God and I want to build a relationship and a friendship with someone. Build a foundation. I don't want it to be, I mean, yeah, there's self-control, but and all those things. And I just don't want it to be on the physical so much. I need to just be, I don't know. To me, it just seems like some of it's focused on the physical. Like, I just really want to honor God and build a foundation. Then once you get married, then, you can run around all you want. It's like that. Just, I mean,
run
you know what I'm
around
saying?
on who?
I said once you get married. Like,
but what I'm saying is that might be indicative of a problem that may continue in marriage. And I don't think you may not be realizing that it doesn't just switch. It doesn't just switch.
No lusty musties.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We all wait until marriage, to have sex with the wives, our marriages. But there's a heart change that you realize. First of all, the first thing I know, me and Ryan talked about this all the time. First thing you realize is, oh, we've been waiting our whole lives for this thing, but we idolize marriage. That it's not the end all be all. Once your marriage begins, your life completely changes. Like you're signing up for a mission. It's not just, oh, I get to have sex or I get to be in the same room. No, it's I get to go on a mission with a person where it's gonna be a grind. Like it's a daily learning yourself and learning a person. It's not just, oh, I get to have sex. And you adjust to that and you realize, oh man, I idolize this thing, and I wasn't really realizing that I was signing up for something even bigger than what I thought. And I just want to make sure everybody's realizing that's what you're actually doing. You're trying to find out if you're going to go on a mission with a person. You see what I'm saying? And some of these some of these boundary topics are good, but it may be revealing that maybe you're not ready to go on a mission with a person. You're not ready to really invest in another person, because Paul said, I wish more people were like me and were single. Don't discount that is also an alternative to being married. And it allows you to be 100% devoted to Christ. And when you get married, you can't. It is a totally different life you're signing up for. And just be real about the fact that do you really want that? It's not everything you think it is.
Yeah. It's a lot of compromise and two people coming together and working as a team, but it's dying to self. I mean, you really have to give up your ways. And again, I'm not married yet, but that's what I'm learning, and then the Bible talks about it,
And another thing is you could be meeting the person while you're dating. You don't know that person 100% until you get married. Until you get married, that's when you start seeing stuff that you like, oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? And you start seeing stuff that you didn't know, but you made that commitment. So now it's like, okay, how do I work through this? Do I make this a point to tell this person I don't like that? Or do I just say, you know what? I have to get used to that because that's just that person. You get what I'm saying? That you're married to. So it's not like, it's like what Sean said is good. It's like sometimes we put so much on the prize of marriage, but when we get into it, we don't know. We don't know how to react. And you can read all the books you want. You can get people's influence. You can get everything you think you get to be ready for marriage, but that's not the case, because that person is not a book. That person is not the other people you're getting wisdom from. That person, you're going to have to learn that person. You're going to have to love their good stuff and their bad stuff. And not bad stuff like sin, but bad stuff like little knacks and stuff that you like. I wish they would stop doing that, but that's them.
Right.
I remember I remember when a brother in Christ came to me, and also a family member told me that I was idolizing my virginity and I was wearing my faith on my sleeve, right? Yeah. And that changed my life completely, because then I started realizing, like, why am I walking around, you know, with this banner over me, making people believe I'm perfect or making people think that I might be perfect when I know that I'm not, and God knows that I'm not, right? And so I remember people telling me, you scare girls off when you talk like that. You scare girls off when you say stuff like that. Like, they see you and they just think that all you're about on a Friday night is sitting down and reading the Bible, right? And I remember when I relaxed on those things, God did a work on me, right? He started talking to me more about, you know, just enjoying life and being myself and not wondering what people were thinking about me, not feeling judged all the time. I probably never could have been able to do this podcast knowing, or this radio show or TV show, knowing that people would be judging everything that I say and do, right? I mean,
people think I sit home and read the Bible on Friday night now. So
you do, Ashley.
You do.
Let's just be real.
That's before quarantine.
I do it every night.
Sometimes.
That was before quarantine.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
But the last thing I'll ask you, Ashley, is that, you know, if you were to walk into his house and you were to see a bottle of alcohol on the counter, if you were to see a Maxim magazine on the counter, if you were to see stuff that just, you see that reaction, right?
Well, those are bad examples. A Maxim.
But here's the question.
That's a red flag.
But no, here's where I'm going.
Here's where I'm going. Maxim by the toilet.
But here's where I'm going. What if that's not his stuff?
Who else is in there then?
What if it's a roommate? What if it's a cousin? No, seriously. What if it's a cousin that comes to stay with him? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you would walk away from a relationship not knowing that stuff wasn't his, and then the assumption that you draw when you walk through the door and your eyes bug out and you see this.
The reason that's a bad example is it's a better example to say, what if something that he actually has a problem with? Like, well,
we've
not
talked
somebody
about
else's stuff. Like,
we talked about that.
What if there's an actual flaw with him? Can you deal with that? I think that's your actual point.
Yeah, and I think you just have to have the question. I think the biggest thing is, and I'm going to totally say this about with Camille and I, Sean's sister, we've talked about it, and it's beautiful. And I love what she said once, and I really respected it. And honestly, it stuck in my head. So I want to shout her out on it. But she said, you know, guys are going to have stuff, you know, and if they do, and she said it in a different way, but long story short, she's like, they might have something, but if they're willing to recognize it and they're growing in the area, that is huge. Because if they're honest about it and they're transparent and they're like, you know, I have this or I've struggled in this area, but they're growing in it, they're mindful of it, they're aware of it, they have accountability, whatever that issue is, that is night and day from some guy hiding something or, you know, keeping something or being in denial about something. To me, I can work with that. If you know it, you're willing to work on it. There's things about me, I'll be like, hey, this is what I've dealt with before. I'm recognizing, I'm mindful of it, I'm working on, I'm still growing in it. To me, that's beautiful. And it's so attractive versus they're trying to hide the whiskey bottle or the Maxim magazine, or that they're liking, you know, Instagram girls. They're not liking it, but they're looking at it all the time. Like, at least I could see you were liking all the girls on Instagram. You got a lusty problem, you know, like I want to see it. Like,
but the thing, Ashley, is I think what Ryan was saying earlier is even what Camille was saying is if that person, if you see that person, you like, no, God, no, but you don't know that, then for some women that have that up is like, you just throwing away somebody that could possibly be your husband.
Yeah, and we're obviously going long today, but this is all
we got to
stuff because we got to get to the next topic. The next topic is amazing. But ladies, what you're looking for is a man who loves God, not loves tradition, not loves, you know, their pastor, not loves or acts like they're a Christian. Somebody who really loves God, who doesn't need to be prompted to grow in Christ, that they want to, whether they have flaws or not. They're not comfortable with them. They're not okay with them, and they're constantly seeking after Christ. That's what you really want to find, no matter what level, no matter where they are in that perspective. It's better to get somebody who is growing from a place where they may not look polished than somebody who looks polished but has no desire to grow. The passion for Christ is what you're looking for in a person. A person who wants to get deeper in Christ. That's if you're not seeing that, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, you just want someone that really loves God. Like, do you really love him? I mean, it's like, do you want to honor him? I think that's so good.
Not just their behavior, but their
yes,
heart.
But, right,
you know
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, so let's get back into it. You're in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
Hey, I got the power. I got the power. I got the power with me. I got the power. I got the power. I got the power with me. This how euphoria. Feeling so glorious. Forever victorious. Heart of a champion. I got the power with me. Go get the championship rings. I got the power with me. This ain't 8 ball, this just fake, dog. I just played my cards, I just prayed and starved. I had faith, dog, against a great odds. I can't take the glory, this came straight from God. I just made a play like OBJ, so really this one here gon' make the top 10. This the moment I've been waiting for, so may the memory never be forgotten. Unlike the game, I'm the locksmith. We breaking out this colossus. I feel like this is my time, there's the need for me to shine, I promise. Still on the court after midnight, putting up shot and shot, working my wrist, clocking overtime. This ain't happen overnight, hard working, discipline. Did my time, walk the green mile, now ball at the gym, way above the rim. Shoot the space, I'm ascending. Now drop the beat, let's make history. I got the power. I got the power. I got the power with me. I got the power. I got the power. I got the power with me. This how euphoria. Feeling so glorious. Forever victorious. Heart of a champion. I got the power with me. Go get the championship rings. I got the power with me.
This ain't fake, dog. This just faith, dog. Had no greenbacks. This ain't Draymond's. Had no place, dog. Had no case, dog. Smile when I take my loss, cause they couldn't take my car. Ooh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I got the keys. Die for the dream like a star spangled banner on his no cap. Bone and petite, if I'm bone and petite, man, my song I repeat, let them know that. Feel it when your skin on cold. That hate you receive, wanna make sure you bleed. Try to make you concede. I will taste no defeat. That will make you believe. For the sake of the king. Only play that I need you. On the other side of the pain, even as a champion. Tell me what they say, I can't outcome. Income won't change my outcome. Champ don't stop when the road get tough. Champ only stop when the work get done.
I got the power.
I got the power.
I got the power. I got the power with me. I got the power. I got the power. I got the power with me. This how euphoria. Feeling so glorious. Forever victorious. Heart of a champion. I got the power with me. Go get the championship rings. I got the power with me.
Power with me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Listening to the Trackstarz with Sean Tanner, Ryan Righteous, and DJ Jeremiah.
Right now you're in the field with the Trackstarz.
Trackstarz.
Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, and DJ Jeremiah.
Right now you listen to the Trackstarz.
You know what time it is.
It's your boy Name Gay, Trackstarz music artist, and you are in the field with the family Trackstarz Radio.
What's up? This is No Big Deal representing Middle Tennessee and Indie Tribe. You are now in the field with the Trackstarz.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, this segment is sponsored by the highly anticipated release of Selfie Dad, coming to video on demand Father's Day weekend. Look for it on Fandango, Redbox, Prime Video, and iTunes. All right.
So Jeremiah sent us a clip of T.I. and Charlamagne talking about God on T.I.'s podcast. I didn't know T.I. had a podcast, but this is definitely. Oh, you do? Oh, good. But anyway, so they talked about they talked about God. Man. Okay, they talked about God on their podcast, and it's very interesting. So I'm gonna try and play it, and we'll come back and talk about it. Y'all ready?
I'm not scared of no white supremacy. I'm not trying to be funny about it, but like, there's people who see the KKK or see authority and just back down.
No. I'm not scared of white supremacy.
You know what I'm saying? I want that to be known. Like, that's played out. Nobody's worried about.
Well, that's the Bible. The Bible made us fear that. Ephesians 6:5. Ephesians
6:5. Fear is exclusive to God.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
But in the Bible, it said slaves should fear their earthly masters.
Yeah, well, we know that was
that's
respect
why.
them. You know, some lines
that's why I
got
can't with the Bible all the way.
Yeah.
Because now, don't get me wrong. I believe in God.
Me too.
God is real. Religion is.
I agree totally.
In the Bible, there are so many inconsistencies, and that's the reason why. And I believe Jesus. I believe he walked the earth. I believe he was a great man.
Yeah, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm
X.
X.
He's a little more better than that.
He's better than that. I think he's better than that. I even go with the man with, I won't go without sin, the man with the least sin. That's what I would go with.
We don't know what him and Mary Magdalene was doing.
The myth of Jesus, though, the story points have been duplicated throughout in different civilizations.
Yes.
In 1400s, 1500s, like there are different, I guess, people who were born, they say, on December 25th, who were born Immaculate Conception to a virgin, who died on the cross and was resurrected on the third day. All of the different points of Jesus' stories have, they've been also associated with other people in history.
The wildest thing about Jesus to me is I don't know how Jesus became God over God. I don't understand
Wait
that.
a minute now. This is the thing. Because another inconsistency in the Bible, it says, our God is a jealous God.
That's right.
You can't serve two masters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if God is a jealous God, but Christianity is say the only way to God is through Jesus.
Yes.
See that that's a contradiction. I don't get it. You serving two masters.
Are people saying Jesus is God? I thought God was the Father, Jesus was the Son.
How do you pray in Jesus' name if you are serving God?
Jesus is the Son.
The Son.
You can't step on my shoe and then say, "Hey, the money."
Exactly.
Tell your dad I'm sorry.
Exactly. You gotta tell Tip you're sorry.
But guess what you can say? Hey, the money. Can you talk to your dad for me?
All right, you got a point, Bob. That's a good point.
You got a better relationship with him than me.
But you're still not putting Damani on the same level as his father.
He's not.
But that's what they do with Jesus.
That's a mistake.
Yes, I agree.
It says that God's word is everlasting.
Yes.
So if God's word is everlasting, then that means there's no ability, there's no opportunity to change any of these words.
Absolutely not.
In this Bible.
And that's the problem.
Okay, well, you do know that the Bible has been rewritten more times than any other book. But that's when I speak to preachers and I say this, man, you know what I'm saying? I have a very hard time. I mean, when they are subscribing to a policy, I believe a lot of preachers are
scamming.
Very good. Well, wait a minute. I think a lot of them are good people. I think they really, really, really do believe.
They've been tricked.
They really do believe. They're just like some lawyers really believe in the legal system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Now, some police really believe in good police work.
The biggest problem I got with Christianity, man, as long as you got black people worshiping a white Jesus, you will never ever truly rebel against your oppressors, because when you see them, you see God.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
I see church like a show.
It's
like a show.
You go
It's
to be
like
entertained.
A play.
Wow. Okay. So that was T.I. and Charlemagne on Christianity.
Oh,
What do y'all
my
think?
God.
It's your favorite show, Ryan, right? This is the one you like?
No. I said I listened to him. You remember, I found out about T.I.'s podcast when he did the Sunday service conversation with Jamal Bryant.
He actually, I've been shocked, but I've seen some other episodes where he's talked to like Jermaine Dupri and he did one with Tyler Perry. I didn't see the one with Kanye. He did one with Tyler Perry that was very good, and I was like, oh wow, T.I. can interview people.
So the reason why I this clip is great to me, and this is why. Because this is kind of what we assume a lot of people believe, but to hear it straight out of their mouths is like, yes, thank you for saying it, because that's what I thought you thought. But to hear you say it is like, I think a lot of people think this way, and they laid out what they believe so clearly that it's like, now I don't have to pretend like I know what you believe. Now I know. So here's I'm gonna go through each thing they brought up, because they brought up the fact that there's these other gods that have the born on the 25th and blah blah blah. They have why is Jesus God, and like they hit a bunch of different reasons why a lot of people out there, I believe, have this kind of like milky Christianity where they say I'm a Christian. Like T.I. I think would say he's a Christian, but based on what he said, that he's not, because he doesn't believe that Jesus is God. I don't think they're
on a new wave called spiritual. Like they're just spiritual now. People,
I think if you
from different religions and they just say, "Yo, I'm spiritual."
But if you press T.I., I think he would say he was a Christian.
I don't think so. I think he said he's spiritual.
I
think he's just like Charlemagne.
I think he would. And because for the most part, T.I. seemed like he was arguing with Charlemagne, trying to say, no, but Jesus is better than the other one. So I think in his heart, he thinks that he is more in line with that than anything else. And I think a lot of people fall into the T.I. camp of, I kind of believe this, but not all the way.
But T.I. said, I don't think he had as many sins, but I do believe he was a sinner.
A lot of people who call themselves Christians believe that as well.
What, that Jesus was a sinner?
Yes, there's a lot of people who believe in God, and they believe in the Bible's God, but they don't believe Jesus was what he said he was.
Oh, I get that.
The Bible is accurate all the way. They believe in a lot of stuff they see on YouTube, like the zeitgeist, which is what I want to talk about.
That's what I'm saying.
But they would still call themselves Christians, though. I don't think so. Jeremiah, I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
I guarantee you.
If people are like
Charlemagne doesn't think he's a Christian, but
he calls himself spiritual.
But people like T.I. think they are. Is what I promise you, Jeremiah. There are people. I promise you, Jeremiah.
I think people are saying spiritual more now, bro.
I think you're missing what I'm saying. There are people like T.I. that believe they are Christians. I promise you. I've talked to them. So
I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm saying there are people out here now that they're just, it's almost like water, oil, vinegar. They're just mixing everything together and just together.
That's what they are doing. But I'm telling you that they call themselves Christians. And that's why
I haven't seen nobody doing that
I
yet,
promise.
No, they are.
I promise
yes,
you.
there is. There is. And there's people that they're Christians. They believe in horoscopes, and they're blending everything. Everything's okay.
So if you remember the video, one thing that I think is causing a lot of this is one of the many reasons. You remember the Zeitgeist movie, right?
Yeah.
I think the Zeitgeist movie really messed up a lot of people. A lot of people who sincerely had a heart for God were led astray because of the Zeitgeist movie. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen the movie or you remember the movie alleged that the Jesus story was a ripoff. It was a copy of other culture stories. Horus or there's an Indian god and this and that, all these other god myths. They believe that the Jesus story was a copy of those god myths. It has the same plot points. But if you actually go look at those myths and you actually look at who Horus was and what happened to him and all those kind of things, it doesn't line up at all. Yeah. They made it up. But a lot of people still believe that what they said was true. That these people were born on the 25th, that they were born of virgin mothers, and all. That's not true if you actually go look at it. It's like saying, oh, okay, God is a lot like Scooby Doo because he had friends and
disciples.
And he solved problems. Right. It's like, no, that's false. You made that up. So a lot of people got and they were like, T.I. was quoting from that movie. Yeah, so I know that movie messed up a lot of people who think they are Christians still. Will still have been led astray by that film. Well,
I think the thing about Charlemagne's perspective is he grew up Jehovah's Witness, and Jehovah's Witness don't believe in Jesus as Savior. So
he's pulling from that as well.
Yeah, that's where he's pulling from, because they just believe that Jesus didn't die didn't save the world.
So that's another big confusion, right?
That
because
is big.
People don't understand the Trinity. They don't understand when we say we believe in God. A lot of people, they say, I believe in God the Father. He's God. The rest of them are not. That's what they believe. So they still believe they're worshiping God. They still believe they're Christians in a sense, but they believe that God the Father is the God and everything else is not the God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And misunderstanding the concept of 3 in 1, 3 persons of the Trinity.
The triune, yeah.
And if you actually go back to the very, very beginning, and I don't know if everybody understands this, but if you go back to the beginning, Genesis, Jesus and the Holy Spirit were always there. They weren't created by God. They are God.
Yeah.
You actually have to read.
Yeah. Even they even go into, if you read what God tells Adam and Eve, he tells Adam this, basically the story of Gethsemane there. Yeah, if you remember when he's talking about your heel will hit a snake, like he's talking, if you really go forward to Gethsemane, he's talking about Jesus in the garden.
Yeah. So if, like in Genesis, it says, let us make them in our image. It was always 3 in 1. Always. Jesus always existed. Always. So I think there's a misunderstanding that people can't wrap their mind around the fact that Jesus is God and Jesus is man. Paul said if somebody doesn't say that Jesus is God and man, they're lying to you. He's not only God and he's not only man. He's God and man. That's what's special about him. But he existed before creation, but he also became a man so he could walk our lives for us. Like that's the concept a lot of people miss.
I don't think people understand too the sacrifice of Jesus, because they don't understand, like, kind of when the thing was like, how could you go to my son on my behalf? It's like, no, Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. He died on the cross, and prior to Christ coming, we were killing animals for sacrificial sins. But with Jesus is like, Jesus died on the cross to take care of every sin in the world, regardless of who does it, who did it, whatever. He did that, and he's the sacrificial lamb for us to say, thank you, God, for dying on the cross for my sins. Now we don't have to kill animals no more to be right with God. God did that with his son Jesus. And that's what, in his resurrection is his ascension into heaven and stuff of that nature.
Yeah. And when you read Genesis 1, that's what Sean's referring to. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Verse 2, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. That's Genesis 1:2. That's it. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters.
All three.
He was there from the beginning.
Yes, all 3 persons. It said,
yes, that is the Spirit.
John 1 says that Jesus is the Word of God. Like saying that basically the words that were heard, let there be light. That was Jesus. Like so I think if you can't grasp the concept of 3 in 1, then this is going to be really difficult, because it's not 3 gods. It's 1 God, 3 persons. And if that breaks your brain, this is going to be very hard to move on. And everything is going to sound like a contradiction if you can't grasp that understanding. Is that it's always been 3 in 1, always.
Yeah.
But then I think and some other stuff too is what I heard a lot from that clip as well is not trusting the church, everything, but they trust Minister Farrakhan. And I think we had to talk about this before. It's like I always said this, something is about hip hop, that hip hop artists trust Minister Farrakhan. If people don't know who Minister Farrakhan is it's a
Nation of Islam.
Yeah, Nation of Islam. So it's like these rappers go to him, they get wisdom from him and talk to him and whatever, but they trust him because even going towards the end of that clip, they start talking about TD Jakes, and one of the guys that was on the side was like, "Nah, man, I don't do TD Jakes. Nah." And he crooked too, and all this other stuff. And Charlamagne was like, "Nah, TD Jakes, that guy. I put him up there with Farrakhan," and he was like, "Nah, Farrakhan over." Like, and then I'm just baffled by it, like how so many hip hop artists, and just I guess that's the topic maybe in the future. Just why is hip hop so like get embraced so much by the Nation of Islam?
Because Farrakhan don't talk about his theology. He talks about how to uplift black people. That's how they win. It's about a practical application to my life. They don't rustle over like, oh, Allah is God above and blah blah blah. Like those things are just spoken. You know them, and then that's it. But to really really dig down and say, no, Jesus is not just the Son of God. Jesus is God. And if that, like I'm saying, that breaks some people's, and they can't handle it. Like they just cannot reconcile the fact that they love God the Father. Mm-hmm. They cannot reconcile that when they talk about Jesus, they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to fix that problem. Like if you can't grasp it.
Yeah. So here's a question. If you were a church and you saw that, would you still bring any of those people into your church to talk?
Why would you bring them before?
Yeah.
I mean, there's churches that have brought Charlamagne in, of course, about mental health and stuff like that.
Yeah. So,
but if you saw that, would you be like, we're good, or would you be like,
yeah, I wouldn't have never brought him in. So, but
what's funny? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No. I was just thinking like the intro of our TV show. I was like, oh yeah, that's Charlamagne the God.
We just asked for a drop. Well, that was it. We asked for a drop.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was a lot. There was a lot to unpack there. Like my face was just ripped up the whole time because I was like, they should have had somebody in the room that knew. If they were going to have that conversation, they should have been like, well, who's the person that can come in and have the other side of this conversation?
But that's what I'm trying. T.I. is the one that they thought knew the conversation. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But here's another thing too. Forgiveness. They don't understand forgiveness because they had a problem with the Dallas situation when the lady killed the guy in his house. His house and the judge hugged him and all this other stuff. I get it. I understand. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the
brushing
same
of the hair
time,
thing was wow.
Yeah. But the same thing is forgiveness is powerful.
I know more about that situation. But anyway, yeah. But you can compare more to the forgiveness shown by the Charlotte 9 or whatever, Charleston.
Yeah, and people get tired of that. Like, why we keep forgiving these people? And he's using that. He's saying, Charlamagne was saying, yo, because the Bible says to forgive, and that's what they keep doing. And they
out of fear.
Yeah, out of fear and out of the loving of the white God or white Jesus. So
yeah. And just so you're clear, Jesus is not white.
Is that?
And if you don't know that, then I would venture to say you've never actually read the actual Bible. The Bible never said Jesus was white. Yeah. No sincere Christian has ever said Jesus was white. The images that you see where it's like a white Jesus, or if you go to a Hispanic country, the Jesus looks Hispanic. You go to some black mother's houses, Jesus is black. People appropriate Jesus to make themselves feel better. But nobody who actually knows who Jesus is would think that he was white.
Yeah, but
he's from the Middle East.
You look at his descent, though. I mean, look at his descent. He was Hebrew, and if you look at the Hebrew culture, what did the people look like? They weren't white.
Yeah.
So you got to look at his heritage. You just look at history. Where was he from?
But I will say that slave masters did use the Bible,
of course,
to do horrible things. But I think people on that level who think like what the ideologies that they had, they use that to people, to even Christians, like, the slave masters used this against y'all. How could you have this religion? How could you worship white Jesus and all this other stuff, and not realizing that if you really take the time to read the Bible and then do research on the things, you can't, when people confront you with that type of ideology, you can know how to combat it, and in your head, like, yo, what he's saying is false.
But what's the problem is, yes, slave masters use the Bible as a weapon against slaves to keep them in line. but people are using that fact to keep you in line.
Yeah.
They're using their sin
Yeah.
to keep you away from Jesus.
Yeah.
Just because a slave owner used the Bible inappropriately doesn't mean the Bible is inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I think that's the lie, is don't let somebody else slave master you. They're using the truth about the fact that slave masters use the Bible inappropriately to sway you, to make you think something.
Yeah.
And if you actually go back to I guarantee most of what they're talking about came from Zeitgeist, came from these internet conspiracy videos, which is why I'm so against conspiracy stuff. And there's truth mixed with lie to get you to start doubting God. That's the whole, that was the intent of the video. And it worked. For too many people, it worked.
Yeah, but I will say this. I'm sorry, Ryan. I will say that but homie in the corner, he was like, he probably was the balance in the room.
He doesn't believe it either, though. He didn't believe
But he had points though when he talked about Christ. Then when they was talking about Jesus as being a nice guy, and he was like, homie was like, no, Jesus is higher than that.
Yeah, but
and then he was talking about when they talking about coming towards Christ and like Jesus being God and stuff. He was kind of the only voice in the room that reason.
To me, there were 3 examples of a lot of Christians in the world right now.
Yeah,
he's not. I think he said he's not a Christian, but he represents a lot of Christians where they naturally react to these things because they know they hear lies. They hear that there's something wrong with what's being said, but they don't really know, so they just react to it and then they can't back it up. Yeah. Then there's another type of Christian who's like T.I. who thinks he knows, but then he's been deceived by, the Bible is this and it's not this and how can this and that. You've been led astray by people who have an agenda to get you not to believe in Jesus. And then there's the Charlemagne who's a scoffer. Like this is laid out in Proverbs. The scoffer, the naive one, like I can't remember the second person, but the last one is the scoffer who looks at things of God and just that's stupid, that's dumb. That's where Charlemagne is, right? So to me, it was a perfect example of the types of Christians that are in the world today, and that's why I appreciated it. I'm not mad at them being honest. To me, it's a great revelation of a lot of people need to see this and confront what they think about these things. Because if you don't think the Bible is God's word completely, if you don't think that Jesus is really God, if you don't understand the Trinity, you need to really grapple with these things. You have to go and actually find out for yourself because this is critical for you to understand. Critical.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was. Please make sure that if you identify with any of the people in this video, don't listen to me. Don't listen to them. Go on a journey and find out what you believe about these things. Actually read the source material. If the zeitgeist swayed you or it made you feel some type of way, go actually find out who Horus is. Go actually find out who all these gods that they claimed were so similar to Jesus. Actually read the source material and see if you agree, if you would have come to the same conclusion. Don't just listen to them.
When I first saw Zeitgeist, it was like a body blow to me. I was like, oh, snap, word. And then I end up doing research. And I found a guy. He debunked everything in that movie, in that documentary, and he started talking about how this God was a god in the swamp, or this happened to them, and he just broke it down using the Bible, and then also just talking about different things. So I think what it is like it's kind of being, it's really, and just being real, like it's kind of time out to be a lazy Christian right now, because if people presenting stuff to you and you just taking it and you're not trying to do no research or you're not even trying to defend your faith, then you're going to be swayed.
I would say go past that, Jeremiah. Don't just find somebody else who can rebut it. Go read it for yourself. Go actually read what the myth of Horus was, right? The sky god, actually go find out what Egyptians believed about these people, not what some other guy thought about these people. Yeah. Find out what actually happened and see if I read this fresh myself without their opinions in the back of my mind, would I be like, that sounds like Jesus? You wouldn't if you actually read it. Don't take my word for it. Just read it yourself. You wouldn't be like, you know what, this sounds like the Jesus story.
I think what it is showing is some people are scared to go that route, and honestly, you should have wisdom and you should have something to ask before you go start researching stuff. God to check your heart and protect your heart as you reading these things.
Absolutely.
But if you're not strong enough, this could sway you. Honestly,
I would venture to say, and this is very important, if you can be swayed by reading the ideas of other people, you may not be a Christian. Because it's not fair that you happen to grow up in this culture, or somebody you love told you about Jesus and you just happen to be in the right faith. There's people who have to come to the faith that came from other faiths, and they had to sincerely weigh this and say, is this true over what I was taught? If you didn't have to do that, then you didn't really have to pay that much of a price. I didn't have to pay that much of a price to be a Christian. So if you have no tolerance for being able to read other people's ideas, and if you're afraid that that's going to sway you, you really need to go deeper into what you actually believe. Not just, oh, somebody told me this is true, so I'm going to believe it. You have to actually really weigh it and say, do I really believe this? Do I really, really believe this? Because if you just think you do and you don't have any actual time figuring it out for yourself, you will be easily swayed by all this stuff.
I remember when this used to be a topic of our Bible study. I think we watched this at your house when we were doing Bible study one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember the documentary.
Yeah, because we broke it down and we went through and said, okay, why is this? Because like the guy made stuff up, like just straight up made it up. Yeah. So if you take their word for it, because they have experts on that say, oh yeah, I agree with that, blah blah blah. No, they completely lied. And if you don't know they're lying, then you're gonna be like, oh wow.
And not even thinking that the enemy is using these people to get you off key.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I just thought I was like, oh, thank God that they admitted this, because if you don't know that these people believe what they believe, you may pick up things from them, and you may be soaking in like, oh yeah, T.I. is kind of a Christian. Yeah, Charlamagne. No, like this is what they actually believe. Like don't be fooled. This is what they believe. So be like, you have to go deeper than the surface level. You have to. I'm begging you, please dig deeper, because if you have no like. This is going way too long, but my dad, before he died, like the biggest gift he gave me was he taught me how to study the Bible, and he taught me how to research things, not just in your own faith, but you have to know their faiths so that when you talk to them, they can't surprise you with information.
Yeah.
It should be that ingrained in your heart that no one can say anything to throw you off. If you're afraid, that goes back to my boundaries situation. If you wall off every other thing that can come get you, are you really that thing?
Yeah. But the Bible says too, though, be ready with an answer. Like, you want to know the Bible. You want to be able to talk these points, have the conversations. You know, you want to have these conversations. These are great conversations. I love it. Jackie Hill Perry, her husband, Preston Perry, he has a God TV, Bold TV. You know, and he has these in-depth conversations, and they're wonderful, you know, with all these different, people that believe different things. And it's like, you know, he studied up, he knows the word. It's like, let's talk about it. Let's have it. Not to necessarily, not in any way to browbeat people, but to really know, what do you really believe? It's not that, oh, I just was raised in a Christian church, this is what I believe. Like, do you really know what the word says, and do you believe it? I think that's a really good thing. And the Bible talks about that. Be ready to know, like, what do you believe? Have a, you know.
Yeah. All right. And sometimes, and real quick, and sometimes you may not have an answer, which is great. Yeah. That means you need to go do some research. If somebody asks you something, you're like, you know what, especially like a coworker or somebody you see constantly, you're like, you know what, man, I don't know, or I don't know the answer to that, but I can come back and we can have a conversation more on this. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong to look bad. And I think that's another thing with Christians, is that when we look bad, it's like we done. It's like, no, you have to learn stuff so you know how to talk to people.
All right, y'all, let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
I know the failing phase, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the failing phase, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the failing phase, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the failing phase, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail.
Yeah,
My daddy seen him, my mama seen him, grandmama seen him, my auntie seen him, my daughter seen him. Tears of the generation, they drop on the mausoleum. Steps in this warfare like the sands of the Coliseum. Can't trust my emotions, feelings come and then feelings go. Searching for a sign because we buy when they sell us hope. Looking beyond the stars through the lens of a telescope. We really want a genie, not a God that'll tell us no. Think about it, if we could control God, we would string him up. Puppet masters manipulating what he could touch. Just need somebody that we could trust. I promise prayer really works, just not the way that you think it does. Yeah.
I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail.
Yeah.
You never fail.
Yeah. I don't always understand God's reasons. I just know it's hard to understand them in dry seasons. Guess I gotta wrestle with the facts and SOS when I feel trapped. I wanna hear another song about my season. I just wanna lock into engage with the weary minds. Dive into the deep where it's broken and teary eyes. I just gotta wrestle with the skeptics while I listen to the questions like all those years of oppression, man, where was God? I get it though. If God would fix everything, that would make him appealing. But since he can, but he doesn't, that makes him a villain. Dang, I'm in my feelings. Shit. Cause I ain't got all the answers, but I can't walk away. Nah.
I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. I know the feeling fades, but you never fail. You never fail. You never fail. Danger, giants, battle is my story. But alone, I won't know. That's my glory. Shadows, you cannot hide me. My king will fly. The God of angel armies is always by my side. Since death died, wanted by a landslide. Hallelujah to the flex, that power made a point next slide. Stepping this side, shoes ain't Gucci, I just keep my foot on reptiles. Yeah, coming from my neck now. When the game about to end, you expect foul. Oh vanity, Satan try to cancel me. I don't feel your plan for me. I just made a canopy. When you come to handle me, there's another hand on me. Even when they all abandon me, God got the destiny, I see no enemy.
This show is brought to you by Trackstarz. Allow us to produce a podcast to help build community engagement around your brand. We can record and edit a podcast specifically designed to reach your target market and utilize social media to create or enhance a loyal following. Go to trackstarz.com/brands. Again, that's Trackstarz with a Z.com/brands.
Tanner. It's the field, boy. You in the field, boy.
You tuned in and locked. Trackstarz. We beating on your block. Trackstarz, yeah. I'm repping the most high king like mama, I made it. Trackstarz bringing the real, you love it or hate it. Line for line with the kingdom, the second of faded.
What's happening? What's happening? This your man Brinson, God Chasers Entertainment. Buckle your seatbelts for line. Vote Christian though. Yeah.
All right, you in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. Make sure you go to trackstarz.com for all the latest. Man, we got a lot going on with Nectar and music submissions and render and all kinds of good news coming. So stay tuned.
All right, man, let's get to it, man. This is, I guess, our second intergender battle that we've ever had. So this is Travis Scott versus Wande. So we're going to get this thing going. This is round one. Okay, let's start it off. This is Travis Scott, Yosemite. Here we go.
Now that I'm home, back up the road, we shut it down, where they sold. Checks in the streets, J number 4, Saint Laurent feet, put it on toes, take it with me, double your dose, covered with angels that's watching my soul. Jack out of bed, it's bigger window, said I be the intent, but I got the info. I feel like I'm chosen, I'm covered in gold.
All right, that was Travis Scott, Yosemite. This is Wande, Be the Light.
Jeremiah.
Yes.
You can't hear the song?
Can I hear what?
The song wasn't done.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, you ready? What's the next one?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Travis Scott, Yosemite. The next one is Be the Light by Wande. All right. That was Wande with Be the Light versus Travis Scott, Yosemite. Who y'all going with?
Ashley, what you got?
I got Wande. I like the pickup on that. I like the speed is a little faster. The production, I like it. Wande.
All right, so Ryan was playing hurt that whole show, so he had to jump off. So we're gonna keep it going. I'm gonna toss that one. What you got? What you got, Jeremiah? And Jeremiah, can you not hear the song?
Yeah, I hear it, but it's going off when it goes off. So yeah, I can hear it.
All right. Who you got?
I am going to say Wande for that one.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter. Wande took the first round.
And this is a worthy opponent for Wande. We were playing with Meg Thee Stallion, but I just don't get it. Bro. I don't get it.
We did them recently too, like a couple months ago. And what happened was we was in a studio, and I think the internet went down. And this is when this is before Savage and all this other stuff she dropped, Megan Thee Stallion dropped. But we did do them. So if you want to go back, I think it's on a previous show in November of last year. If you want to go back and check that out, we have the audio for it. So if you want to go check that one out, we can. But we have somebody for Meg Thee Stallion coming soon. So yeah. All right. So that was I guess it was a 2-0. Wande won the first round. All right, here we go. We're gonna start off with Wande this time. This is called Been Up. Here we go.
I hop on the scene, you know it's a scene, you know we in action. I really believe since I was a teen, I don't do no acting. I'm teaching them things, see what is unseen, is what's everlasting. Deliver 16s while 116, you know it's no capping. I really hop on the floor just to get them delivered, these coming, I cannot deny. I see the cards, I was double, my God, always winning, so line them up, I wanna play. I cannot sit on the side, yo, I got this inside of myself, I'm a tired of the nights. I gotta get up and go when I'm feeling below, try again, but it's close to stay. Up and down, tell me what you see,
All right, that was Wande with Been Up. This is Travis Scott, Out West. Here we go.
It's up and stuck. Thought you can cost the game, what was you thinking of? Red coat, roller coaster sound just like it does. These days I balance all the hate out with the love. These days I pour all of my pain out in a cup. Believe me, that's just a side effect when you with us. Easy, the dust is right behind me, they on edge. Believe me, we pop out in the city to collect. Vibes in this, they surprised that I live.
All right, that was Travis Scott, Out West versus Wande, Been Up. Who y'all going with?
Ashley.
Wande.
Yeah, I got Wande on that one.
Wande. I will go with Wande as well. So that's
right,
3-0.
That's another one.
Yeah, she's up 2-0.
Y'all disappeared from my screen, so y'all just gonna have to look at me.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. You can still hear me though?
Yeah. We could. They
Okay,
can hear
cool.
you, just can't see.
Got you. All right, here we go. This is Wande won that, so it's 2-0. This is round 3. We're going to start off with Travis Scott, Stargazing. Here we go.
Rolling, got me stargazing. Psychedelics got me going crazy. Oh no, melon, big selling. All the intelligence, we propelling. Up top with Ellen, every chopper, kill the jealous. They pain repellent, got me going. I'm told telling, we brought the section. They keep on calling up, it's getting hectic. Like we projected, so we cut the plug.
All right, that was Travis Scott, Stargazing. This is Wande, Iconic. Here we go. All right, that was Wande, Iconic versus Travis Scott, Stargazing. Who y'all got?
Ashley.
Wow. I think I'm gonna toss on that one actually.
Yeah, this is another toss, but I don't have one. I'm gonna go Wande on that one.
Wande.
Jeremiah.
I like that song by her, so I'm going with her again.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Seems like it's Wande online too.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
All right.
She up 3-0, man. She is up.
Travis is a beast too, so
yeah,
he can make a turnaround right now.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're gonna start off with Wande first this time. This is called "Be Yourself." Here we go, round 4.
When you see the ceiling at night, when you home and you all alone, but you know your future too bright. You wanna be someone else when you working at 9 to 5. Save away, work, pay the paycheck, but it's way more life. Yeah, you keep on your way. What's inside? You can just moments like this, you will make me hits like this. You a child of God and make niggas out and have faith to see enough shit. You wanna be when you wake from your sleep. Yeah, don't be a clone. You were made to.
Yes, blessing report. He is. He's a beast.
All right, that was Wande, Be Yourself. This is Travis Scott, Highest in the Room.
Stressing about the loot. Pop out made a kiss it real. This not the molly, this the boo. Ain't no coming back from here. Little life a lot familiar. It's so much gain that I can't see it. Turn it up till they can't hear. Running around for the thrill. Yeah, dog, run my reel. I'm going to the real.
All right, that was Highest in the Room by Travis Scott versus Wande's Be Yourself. Who y'all going with?
Ashley.
Man, this is hard. I'm gonna go with Travis Scott on that one.
I got Travis on that one, and that was close though. That was
Yeah,
real
it was.
close.
I'm
What
going
you
with
got?
Travis too.
Yeah, that was.
All right.
So
the
I
comeback.
look like Travis. So it's 3-1, Wande. We got round 5. All right, so we're gonna start off with Travis Scott this time. It's called Butterfly Effect. Here we go.
Hit it, deep off in the main. like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang. Drop the top, play hide and seek. Jump inside, jump straight to the lid. Take a sip, feel just how I be. On freeway, but no, ain't nothing free. Been laws, been lanes, been busting bills, but still.
All right, that was Travis Scott, Butterfly Effect. This is One Day Happy.
Just wanna feel yeah. Wake up in the morning, think about the morning. When I'm still on that be on cloud nine, feel like I'm flying, but I'm in a situation. Enemy is crying, enemy is dying. Happiness and temptation. Heard you speak about joy, and I want an invitation. Yeah. Something inside, the enemy. Long as the lips set free, I can try down. I got all this pain. Feel like nothing changed. So bad.
All right, that was One Day Happy versus Butterfly Effect. A Butterfly Effect by Travis Scott. Who y'all going with?
Ashley.
Travis.
I got One Day. That's easy One Day.
I'm gonna use my toss.
Well, so it's up to the universe now. What y'all got? That One Day song is amazing. All right, it's up to you, Damo.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what Damo say.
What y'all got? This is what, round 5?
Yeah.
So he needs this one.
Yeah.
One Day Online.
Oh, the knockout punch. All
right, man. It's 4-1 going into the 6th. Here it is. This is One Day Wakande. Here we go.
Lead him to the one that free my soul. Send it, Steven once believe that I was really in control. Wasn't heathen, I was breathing, but still dead inside, I don't know. Gotta flip my story all right, till I get them stereotypes. Whoa, anger the paint on me. I'm not the picture to the frame on me. Rose from the bottom, put the strain on me. Don't pain on me, overcame all these, okay. I'm off the train, I'm free, over. I ain't tripping what they say about me, they lost. Even when they throw shade on me, cause the shade on me, put the shades on me, okay. You watch you read me, oh yeah, joke with me. Oh yeah, Pakumo. Oh yeah, Jack.
All right. That was One Day with Wakande. This is Travis Scott, Sicko Mode.
Made this here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump out, boys. That's Nike boys hopping our coast. Way too big when we pull up, give me the loot. Was off the Remy, had up at post. Had to hit my old town to duck the news. 2-4-hour lockdown, we made no moves. Now it's 4 a.m. and I'm back up popping with the crew. I just landed in Chase B mixes pop like Jamba Joe's. Different color chains, think my jeweler really.
All right, that was Travis Scott, Sicko Mode versus One Day's Wakande. What y'all going with?
Ashley.
One Day.
One Day. I got Travis Scott, man. That Sicko Mode.
West Side.
Sicko Mode was just great. The second beat on Sicko Mode, the one we just heard, not the first and the third one, the second one was completely crazy. So I got Travis. What you got?
Travis.
So the universe could tie it?
Yeah, they could tie it. Let's see what happens here.
They can't make him win, though.
Yeah, I know.
What y'all got? This one's going back and forth online. What y'all got? Me, that Travis song is just incredible.
It is dope. There's no need for a round 7, blessing report.
And this is a long show, so we ain't doing no 7 today.
We're doing round 7.
Only if necessary.
And it's not really necessary.
No.
All right. I mean, it don't really matter, but what you got, Damo? What's the score?
Travis
online. So that means it was a toss round, right?
No.
Travis won. So then it ended up being what? 4-2?
4-2. She wins.
That fourth round was critical. It was critical.
Yeah, it was.
One Day beat Travis Scott in the line for line.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
4-2.
That's good.
Good job. I mean, like I said, to me, I think she would have crushed what's her face?
Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, she
would
would
have crushed.
I mean, I found songs that would have went because of course Megan is hot right now. Of course, with the whole situation with Beyonce remixing her song, or the remix they had together. So it's she hot right now, but One Day is just a better lyricist than her. It wouldn't have been great.
I don't even want to talk about the lyricism part. I just mean the songs, period. I think she's just got better songs, period.
But I mean, I like maybe 1 or 2 tracks from Megan, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just don't get it. But to me, Travis is one of the best young artists, and if she could be him, that's a problem. Because I thought when you asked me, and when I said Travis, I was like, ooh, one day not gonna like me.
Or maybe I didn't pick the quote unquote pick the right song.
You did.
I picked all this. I started picking Killers.
I mean, those are some bangers, but I just one day to me the Happy song puts her on par with any of those guys or any of these people. To me, Happy is such a quality song, and it shows that there's no separation quality wise between her and any of these people. Yeah, she can rap. The melodies are dope. Songs are produced well, mixed well. There's no separation.
Yeah, and I think she should be in that conversation of the right now female artists period. But just when you talk about the hot female rappers out right now, her name should be in the mix.
Yeah, she's gonna have to have some more songs pop up for people to even pay attention to her. Because again, they don't really pay attention to us at all as far as recognition. But if she has some more bangers like that, that's a wrap.
I can't wait to a mixtape because I think this album was her album to the world to be like, I can do this. But I've heard records. I mean, the Bless Up record, the No Cap record. She got records where it's like, I'm waiting for those type of records as well. So I'm excited for it, man.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys for hanging out. And what you should do before marriage, and the importance of marriage, and then how people really see God and who's really a Christian. To me, that's just amazing. So thank you for hanging out with us. We lost the sound. Oh, okay. Can y'all hear me now? All right, guys, real quick. Can y'all hear me now? I gotta record a clean. I know you guys can. I'm trying to see if they can hear me. Is anybody still here? Can y'all hear me? I gotta record a quick outro for this thing so I can make it a podcast. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Somebody, please. Somebody.
Yes.
You can? Dope. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys. You're in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
Winds may blow, waves won't overtake me. Tears in my eyes, but I'm still gonna survive. 'Cause he's incredible, he's powerful, and I will rise from the bottom 'cause he's inside. 'Cause I'm let me fall, no.
Now, I'm in the field with Trackstarz right now. I had a blessed time. Hopefully, you guys are listening. If you're not, then you're losing. Until next time. Until next time.